Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News for Tuesday, February 17. I am Carrie Simpson. A special welcome to our viewers on YouTube, TVJ International in the Cayman Islands, and online at onespotmedia.com. Here's what we have in the bulletin.
Mandeville Regional Hospital performs first colonoscopy procedure in southern Jamaica. USF estimates $800 million in damage. And later in sport, Jamaica's two-man bobsled team to complete their campaign at the Winter Olympics this afternoon at 1 Jamaican time.
Thank you for joining us. Now the details. Months after suffering damage from Hurricane Melissa, the Mandeville Regional Hospital is now marking a significant achievement, the successful completion of its first ever colonoscopy procedure. Here's Alia Bryant with our first story.
The Mandeville Regional Hospital is celebrating its first ever successful colonoscopy. It is also the first such procedure to be performed in southern Jamaica. A colonoscopy is a medical test where a doctor uses a thin, flexible camera tube to look inside the large intestine or colon to check for problems like bleeding or cancer. Speaking on Smile Jamaica this morning, the hospital's consultant general surgeon, Dr. Andrew Josephs, stated that the hospital saw the need to find ways to assist after noticing an increase in patients presenting with colon problems.
It's kind of twofold. One is either lack of knowledge, fear of investigations, and then there's also lack of access. So it's not just a colonoscopy, but colonoscopy and upper endoscopy. That's evaluating the stomach, upper intestines, colonoscopy below. Right? So we realized that it wasn't available in the public system within our health region. And so we sought to get assistance in making this happen.
A colonoscopy is also highly effective in detecting cancer affecting the rectum, which is the third leading cause of death among men and women.
The good thing about colon cancer is that we know the cause. It's caused from what are called polyps. So polyps are tiny growths that, if left alone over a few years, develop into tumors and eventually cancers. So the good thing is, if you catch it at the stage of a polyp, you can remove it and prevent cancers from developing. Simple, right? However,
Sounds simple.
It sounds simple, right? However, we find that fear of the procedure, it's more invasive clearly than having something like a blood test or a mammogram, etc. So that's part of it, but part, as you said, is also the economics of the test.
Dr. Josephs says a colonoscopy should become part of your routine checkups starting at age 45. To help prevent these issues, he urges individuals to maintain healthy eating habits and stay physically active. However, he notes that the hospital currently lacks the capacity to accommodate screening for most patients in Jamaica.
Those who can definitely seek out private care. What we're trying to focus on here are the patients that aren't able to access because of affordability, etc., and importantly, emergency cases. So we focus on colon, but just last week we're able to do upper GI endoscopies in patients with stomach or gastric bleeds, identify the cause, and that helps to guide management. So important, we're focusing first on our inpatients, then our most needy patients from the surrounding clinics, etc. And eventually we hope with more training, more support, we can expand to the point where one day we'll be able to offer screening for the asymptomatic patient population.
Alia Bryant, TVJ News.
The Universal Service Fund, USF, is reporting that it suffered a major blow during the passage of Hurricane Melissa, which left an estimated $800 million in damage to its infrastructure. Chief Executive Officer of the USF, Charlton McFarlane, says of its 415 sites island-wide, about 385 were damaged. These include public and community Wi-Fi. Mr. McFarlane says none of its Wi-Fi network withstood the devastation.
From Manchester, going down along the south coast to St. Elizabeth, to Westmoreland, then coming around Hanover, St. James, Trelawney. Right, so we kind of look at that as one block, and I can say those parishes were the most badly affected parishes, where nothing survived. Basically, we're talking about over 150 Wi-Fi sites in that section alone, right? And none of them survived.
He says the USF is using solar and satellite technology to restore Wi-Fi to some of the badly affected parishes. More than 50 of these sites were restored and are currently in operation in Western Jamaica.
That would have covered more than 2/3 of what was damaged in the western end of the island. And the aim, and what we are working really hard to do is to have full restoration before the end of the fiscal year for the western parish.
It could have been worse, the parting words of workmen who departed Jamaica after over 3 months of repairing the energy grid. So far, 97% of JPS customers have been returned to the grid, while just under 17,000 customers are to be reconnected. But the linemen from US and Canada argue that number could have been a lot higher for a lot longer if the authorities had failed to plan for the disaster.
Like no other that not only the public witnessed, but the utility itself, JPS. So they've done a great job. They really have. They prepared before the storm, and that helped them a lot. And they continue to work tirelessly every day to restore their customers.
And people should know, if GPS had not prepared in advance and had not sourced all the materials, it would have been a lot worse. Because you can have all of us here, but if you don't have the material, you can't do anything. So they had the foresight after barrel to get a good stockpile of material that allowed the work to get done. So that was foresight.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness has described the passing of U.S. civil rights legend Reverend Jesse Jackson as a significant moment in history, adding that humanity owes him a debt of gratitude. Reverend Jackson died today at the age of 84. A statement from his family said he was a servant leader, not only to his family, but to the oppressed, the voiceless, and the overlooked around the world. Dr. Holness says Reverend Jackson's activism, which centered on championing economic, racial, and social justice and empowering Black, minority, and working-class people, including voters, had global impact and will resonate for centuries to come. The St. Catherine North Criminal Investigation Branch has charged 3 men with the murder of Damian Dunn. Mr. Dunn was a teacher and a construction consultant. He was reportedly ambushed and shot in Gordontown, Spanish Town. Those charged are Javon Swimmer, otherwise called Razor, Wilder Edwards, otherwise called Rolex, both of License St. Thomas, and Tyreek Fennell, otherwise called Six, of Palmer's Cross, Clarendon. They have also been jointly charged with conspiracy to murder, being a member of a criminal organization, possession of a prohibited weapon, and using a prohibited weapon to commit an offense.